What's going on, guys? So I have a quick little tips video that I want to share with you. This is a question that came in from Ricky Hilliard. He's one of the patrons, and he was asking me, how am I saving my spots? So when I do these spot exposed videos, or if I'm just out on the water and I find a spot that looks good, how do I save that? Do I save it on my chart plotter? Do I save it in my phone? Do I write it down in a journal and kind of journal it kind of the old school way? How am I doing it? So personally, you guys, I'm working off of Google Maps on almost anything I'm doing when I am researching spots. I like Google Maps because they have a brand new low tide satellite image that was taken, I believe, in March. And it's a really good low tide, no matter if you're in Hilton Head, Savannah, Richmond Hill, and even parts of Shellman's Bluff. The low tide image is fantastic. Obviously, you guys know low tide images show what is 7 feet below the normal water level or below a high tide view, which allows you to see depth changes, more shadow and shading, oyster beds, dock pilings, submerged structure and whatnot. So I like to work off of Google Maps basically because the map is really, really good. Also, I work off of Google Maps because it allows me to share pins, share spots, as well as label spots. So let me show you how I label a spot, and then I'll show you how I would share a spot with someone else that's in my fishing network. So I'm going to pick somewhere very neutral, and I'm just going to go right up here to Charleston, South Carolina. This is actually a spot that I go and fish with my buddy. We'll go out here and we'll night fish. And it's a great spot to catch redfish, flounder, trout, sheep's head as well. And it's right here. It's basically this little bridge that separates Sullivan's Island from Isle of Palms. And right here on this point where all these rocks are, it's really good. This is actually a really good incoming tide spot that we fish. We'll stand right out here on these rocks and we'll cast out just into the edges, and we will absolutely wear them out on this side as well as over here on this side. There's a lot of flounder in the sand under these bridge pylons and whatnot. So let me show you how I would save this spot. So basically you just zoom into the area that you're most interested in and tap the screen of whatever you're wanting to mark. So say for instance, I'm going to mark that point right there. Let's drop the pin there, right on that point. Now, if I want to label that point, here's all you do, guys. Go down here to the very bottom where it says label, tap that. Now, all you have to do is type in whatever you want to call this thing. If you want to call it a point, you can call it a point. If you want to call it rocks, you can call it rocks. If you like to fish this spot on a low incoming tide, and the best water temperature for this area that you normally catch these fish is around March time, and the water temps are about 75, then call it LI 75. And this is exactly how I mark my maps. That way, I'm kind of coding my spots so it makes sense to me. But when I look at these spots, I'll know, okay, that is LI 75. So it's not like, yes, that's a perfect spring spot. That is a perfect spot to fish when the water temperature is this temperature, right? So once you've typed it in, you just basically tap done in the top right, and it's going to label that pin for you. Now, if you want to, now you want to hit the red X at the very top right, and that red pin turns blue. Now, here's the most important part. If you want to work off of these maps on different platforms, whether you're on your phone, you're on your tablet, or on your desktop, you need to create a Google account. You basically just sign in, create a username, password, and you're good to go. Most of you guys have already done this because that's what it takes to be a subscriber on YouTube. If you haven't and you want to subscribe to YouTube, you have to create a Google account first. It's a very simple process. You have to figure out what you want to call yourself or what your Gmail account or your Gmail name is going to be. That's honestly the hardest part. But then once you log in to your phone, your tablet, or to your PC, and you set and save a pin just like this, it will now forever save this pin under your profile. So no matter where you go, that pin is saved to your profile. Now, if you want to take this pin and you want to share it with someone else, here's what you do. Tap that pin until it turns red. Now down here on the very bottom, you want to scroll till it says share. Now all you do is you tap share, and it gives you options to tap message, to message it to someone, if you want to email it to someone, if you want to drop it on Facebook. It's got a bunch of different options. I'm personally not going to tap share because it's going to bring up a list of other friends of mine and other guys that I network with, and I want to kind of keep their identity safe. So I'm not going to tap it, but that's all you guys basically have to do is just tap this share and then share it to them however you want. Now, what they're going to receive on the opposite end, if it's a text message, they're going to basically receive a hyperlink to that spot as well as a GPS coordinate. Now, the GPS coordinate is important if you're offshore fishing and you don't have any hard structure to be able to research and say, hey, that point looks good or that oyster bed looks good. If you're out there fishing a spot and you're sitting on top of a piece of structure, maybe a nearshore wreck or reef, and you're catching fish and you want to send that pin, it'll send a GPS coordinate. So now you can have a hard GPS coordinate to punch into your chart plotter when you're out there on the water, etc. But that's how I save pins, and that's how I share my pins and network with my other fellow guys that are in my network. So that's it, you guys. I hope this little video helps you get a little better organized. I can tell you I have a ton of pins. The way I do my pins, honestly, if I'm researching a brand new area that I'm wanting to fish maybe a day or so before, I'll go into that certain area and I'll mark things that look good. But what I'll do is I won't mark them with a label that says LI 85 or 75. I'll just put question marks right there. So then when I go into that area and I fish them, and if I start catching fish, I can either remember, yes, this was a good spot that had fish, or I can just simply pull out my phone and label it right there. So figure out the water temp for the day, figure out what tide you were doing good, you were doing well fishing that area, and then you can label it there. If you go there and you fish it and there's no fish there, then you can just basically delete that pin. And what you do is tap the pin, it pulls up red. Now down here on now down here on the very bottom, it gives you the option to edit the label again. So you tap edit, and now you can't hit an X. They don't have an X button for whatever reason. You basically have to hit the backspace and backspace out every single character until it's empty and gone. And then you just tap done in the top right, and now that pin is gone. Hit the X at the top right, and your red pin is gone. And what that does is it gives you the option to mark spots to try and fish, and when there's no fish there or it's not a good spot, you can delete it off, and it keeps your map clean, organized, and not so cluttered and whatnot. So I hope this little video helps you guys get organized like I was mentioning before. This is exactly the way I do it. If you guys got any kind of value out of this video, or you want to leave a comment down below, by all means, feel free. And that's it. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Take care, you guys. God bless.